Hi everybody! We wanted to do a quick intro video just to show you how we live. We have an introduction to the boat that Rachel's done. How we live, how we got here quickly, a little bit about our history, and then what we plan on doing with these videos. We have had so many people ask us to do videos that we figured with doing it, we do enough home videos as it is with all the kids that we would put them together and then share them.
Try and make something that's somewhat entertaining for you, just so you can see our life, and hopefully some people actually make the decision to do the same thing. It's been an adventure, and we're hoping to adventure even more. So.
And there's questions that were asked over and over about how we moved aboard a boat, how we got here, and so we knew even putting together videos that we'd have endlessly questions. So we're hoping to answer some of those questions by doing this. You're going to hear kids in the background endlessly, but you just have to get used to it because we have four kids.
We have 4 kids, and there's 6 of us aboard a boat.
A 45-foot sailboat. So, with no further ado, I will introduce William.
Hi.
Grace.
Hi.
Isabel.
Hi, Iz. Say hi.
Shy.
And Kristen. Kristen, say hi. So anyways, we started with powerboat. We had a ski boat when we were young. I grew up with powerboats, and when we were really young, I was 21.
And I was 18.
18. Shows you how long we've been together. I'm 47 now, and
I'm 44.
And so we bought a sailboat, a Catalina 22, from a friend of the family, and it was $1,000, and it was dirty, but basically in good shape other than that. And we took her out sailing. The first time we went out, and we turned off the engine and heard the wind, lifted the sails and just took off and realized that we could continue going anywhere.
We can go anywhere we want to. We could go anywhere
without spending money on gas.
Yes.
Which before that this is back in the early 90s, we'd have to spend $100 easily for gas for just the day.
Just a day.
And
on the lake.
That cost, and to have a sailboat that we would fill up once a summer for like $16. And we kept sailing and it got us hooked.
Sold. Yeah, we were hooked for sure.
So then we got a little bit bigger boat, which was an O'Day 27. At the same time, furthering our work, our careers, we had businesses at the time that were growing. We bought a house. We had no kids at the time. We had a husky and a cat. And we bought the O'Day, and we called it our escape. We would go aboard it, and it would just escape.
It was such an escape. It was an escape from everything, our everyday life. Of work, and I couldn't do any laundry. There's no laundry to do. There's no dishes to do. There's no chores outside to do. There was just nothing but to be there in the present moment and actually just take it in, and that is what gave us freedom. We just felt it was total freedom, and we're like, if we could do that,
we could sail anywhere.
Forever. We could sail.
We could go up. We needed to get away, and it was not as expensive as the everyday, the mortgage and the business expenses and all those sort of things. Although we were having success at the time with them, which was a grind, as everybody out there knows. For any success, it's a grind to get there. Yeah. But it was our escape, and then that turned out we had William down there who's holding Grace.
Hi.
He was born, and the O'Day 27 was just a little bit too small. We knew that Christian then was coming, and with 2 kids, it was just those weekends of sailing was a little bit too small. So we almost reluctantly got a bigger boat, which is a Catalina 30, which came with the name Splendiferous, which was a wonderful name.
It's a perfect name.
We still have friends out there that have Catalina 30s, and it's kind of like a period of time in our lives that was really exciting remembering, because we went through a lot of different transitions at the time. We closed a company, we sold a house, we moved, we transitioned. We started this aspect of minimalism. We started sailing more, started sailing farther, started going up into the San Juans, the Gulf Islands.
Now, I hadn't sailed in the Gulf Islands or the San Juans prior to this boat. We were just mainly in the Puget Sound, just sailing, but not venturing further. And so the Catalina 30, we felt gave us more of an ability to do that. And it was that we actually had it moored up in Blaine, so we were already distant. And so being able to go into the San Juans was really, really easy. And so that just gave us a whole new view and perspective of what we could do.
We could, we also added, we had this room to add solar panels, wind generator, and so we had self-sufficiency, which part of the minimalistic living when we were living out there, we're paying at the time landscaping on our home.
Yep.
Just to be able to go sailing, we'd have to pay all these home costs. We'd have to continue paying the mortgage, continue paying the power, continue paying the landscaping to keep it up for the neighbors while we're gone, pay for the home maintenance, all those different things. And it was a very inexpensive way to travel, and it really gave us a perspective. Why are we living like this? Why do we continue? Because we'd go back to the city and then work and live, and yet there's this whole other world out there that didn't cost
Didn't cost anything. In the maintenance, people talk a lot of times about maintenance, of boats and that. Well, yeah, if you have a home and a boat and all that, and you're trying to maintain everything, but we found the maintenance on our homes was so much more expensive to keep it the way that we wanted to. And boat was just simple. It was simple, the maintenance on it. I was able to, every time we'd have a boat hauled, I would do the maintenance. I'd do the bottom paint myself. I enjoy doing that stuff, so that actually gave us a whole different perspective and ability to do something. Thanks, Sis. Do something different and realize that being aboard a boat and not having the house would actually be a really nice direction to go.
So we loved that Catalina 30. We probably wouldn't have gotten a bigger boat because we spent 5 years just customizing it to get it to really where we wanted, which was this self-sufficient life that we could take off and go live. And there was thoughts about, there's people that sail this around the world, and even though it's not designed for that, it's a coastal cruiser, we had thoughts of potentially doing that. But we continued working, we continued with houses, we had another company start, just more transitions that kept us, just life, doing the same thing. And so we bought the boat that we have now, which is a Pearson Countess 45, and had 2 more girls. We had these 2 new girls. It's Grace and Isabel.
Aboard the boat. Not actually had them physically aboard the boat, but since we chose to move aboard, we actually have had the 2 girls.
We may have created them on the boat. But we went to having where we bought this with 2 boys, and we had the room with the 2 boys. And all of a sudden we have 2 more girls, so it's pretty tight in here. We had reluctance to even share our experience on here because we love this boat.
It's comfortable for us. The only time it actually ends up not quite as comfortable is if we end up in a total hurry to get going somewhere. And we don't have to do that. We just try and plan things out better because you can end up running into each other if you're in a hurry.
Which is part of the living. We have rules that essentially that we set on board, and one of them is not to be in the open area.
Always keep the walkway
you don't
clear.
just sit there or stand there. You move out of it, and when you make certain practices normal, then it makes living in a small space, which this is designed to live in and to sail in. And this boat's designed to cross oceans and be on her for long periods of time, and so it really works, but you have to have a different perspective than you'd have in the house. And a lot of this really comes back to minimalistic living in general. It's about having stuff and not having stuff, and changing your perspective on life to, instead of acquiring goods, to having experiences.
Yeah.
And so you'll see a lot of us doing that in the video because we had to do this transition to having big houses and having lots of stuff and having 2-3 car garages, filling them up, and then overflowing that you couldn't have cars in them.
Go.
And to the point of not having even a storage unit now. This is everything that we own is on this boat. Yeah. One of the things in doing these videos, all the interruptions with just having kids, and it's kind of like life with having kids. You just have to roll with it.
You do. We've had to learn to do that, and there'll probably be some videos coming up that we're like just to get things out. It's our life. It's the way it is.
You want the camera now? Because otherwise, if you don't roll with it, you'd find yourself just frustrated, and you wouldn't be able to which is life in general. Like if you're frustrated with kids, with the house, with doing yard work, with doing any of that stuff, which I look forward to talking about, where people ask us all the time about it. And we've lived in every way. We've lived in bigger houses in suburbs. We lived downtown Seattle in a high-rise. We've lived for a few months even in a trailer, which was a really cool experience too, doing permaculture on a property that we own that's in a trailer. And many different ways. So we do have a perspective on it that not a lot of people would have, and this is a transition that worked for us. And we'll tell you, we won't try to convince anybody of how to live, but this is just
it's definitely
how our
a
life
lifestyle.
migrated, and we are happier now. So basically, we moved aboard with the two boys. We had two girls when we were aboard, and we don't want to get a bigger boat, although it almost would become a necessity as they grow, which we'll have to see. But we love the boat, and we're not materialistic people. We love the quality of the build of this boat. And she's 55 years old.
Yeah, 1965 is when she was built. So when they were building fiberglass boats really thick. So she's got a really good thick hull, and it's a full molded keel. So there's no risk of disconnection of the keel.
And made in the U.S., which really does do a difference at that time, because you can see the quality of the engineering that went into it, the labor that they had. You know, they don't make boats like this anymore, where now they very strategically engineer them so that they use as the base amount of materials as possible for it to keep the cost down, which makes sense in certain aspects. But with this, and also with the era that they really didn't know, so they used the top quality resin, and they used a lot of it, and it's thick and it's strong. And it's funny because it's still listed as a fast and capable ocean racer, you know, for the time, which makes me chuckle a little bit. Yeah. But she's a good boat, and we love her, and we plan on sailing farther with her. And we reached this point that we had to make a choice. It was 20 years since we had the Catalina 22. We had these dreams of going sailing that always were in the background with work and with life. With owning homes, we've been materialistic. We've had the homes, we've had the cars I don't even want to mention now, because they seem so ridiculous in retrospect. Cars that had 7 to 10 miles per gallon. And
as we're sailors and like
cars that seated only 2, which is just ridiculous.
Environmentally friendly.
6. And we plan on going sailing. We are asked all the time about that aspect of it, like how did we move aboard a boat? And so we wanted to put a little bit of background to it, because it happened gradually. We bought this boat, we came here for the summer, we loved this summer. It was fun. We got to know Port Townsend, which was a new place for us. And then the summer came, and nobody wanted to move back home. Nobody wanted to go back.
Summer ended,
And so on the way home, we just talked to, even though we spent a lot of time on sailboats, probably more time at periods of time than in our houses, paying people to maintain the houses.
Yes.
And we just decided to stay. We just drove home, and we turned around the next day and came back and decided to stay. And this is 3 years ago?
It's 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
2015.
We had, and then we've also had some work opportunities. I work with a company called Bender, that is a farmers market app, and we're out of Austin, Texas. We were invited out of Austin, Texas. We had a lot of different career and work excitement that went on in the last year. And so we moved back about 4 months ago, and we're faced with this transition, because if I'm going to be 48 in March, and if you don't go sailing soon,
do it. When are you gonna do it? Yeah, we've been talking about doing something bigger for 20 years since we first It's been 21 years because our very first sailboat we actually bought in 1998 that Kathleen was running too. So, yeah. So it's been it's been a long time coming, and it's like we just have to. If you don't do it, you're not gonna do it, and you have to just let loose the ties.
We know there's a lot of people out there like us that just had, because society really puts out there, and family, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have this successful career. You're supposed to have the house. You're supposed to have
the things, the stuff, and that is your determination of whether you're successful or not. And it's we've found
we achieved
are
a lot
so
of
much
that
happier
early.
Yeah, we did that, but it's so much happier not having all that stuff, letting loose of it. You gotta let loose, and it's really difficult to do that in this society with our programming.
So instead of material things and the houses, again, we're focusing on the kids, and we're focusing on going sailing to have time with the kids. We rented a house when we were down in Texas, and I try not to put my own opinions out there to the kids. I asked them if they want to rent a house when we went back up here in Port Townsend, and no, they wanted to be back on the sailboat. They want to go sailing. What they want to do when they grow up is go sailing. The periods of time that we have gone sailing are what they remember and what are so influential in their personalities and what they've become
what they're becoming.
Yeah, what they're becoming, that we're going to do it. And so part of the intention of these videos is to answer some of those questions that people always ask, how do you live aboard the boat? How do you live aboard the boat for kids? How do you do all that?
How do you do all that and stay happy? That's actually one of the things that makes us happy. It's one of the best things. But and as we do these videos, there's going to be stuff we want to answer, questions, and we hope that we can inspire some more people to do what we're doing, because it's definitely a different life. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely fulfilling and enriching.
So we're going to film these videos, and we're going to put them out there. We had a lot of hesitancy doing so. If people like the videos, we'll continue doing it. If they don't like the videos, we'll continue doing them for ourselves.
Yeah.
And we have old equipment. We have not invested into camera equipment. This is a Hero 2 that we were filming, and we have no drone other than raising Rachel up the mast. We're sending a kid aloft or something like that with a helmet cam. We have our cameras that are on our phones, and that's what we're filming with. We're filming
we hope to
initially. If people like it, we'll continue to do that, and with the goal being ideally
invest in some more camera equipment and make the videos better.
The editing is going to be rough because we've not done it before. I have technical experience, but I just don't have the experience creatively putting together storytelling, so I'm relying a lot on Rachel with that, and just working as a team as we do with everything else.
Yep.
And hopefully we inspire somebody, or make somebody laugh, or they have fun. There's always video moments with the kids that we always love to share them, and if anything else, it'd be a scrapbook for them to look back on and see the videos put together a little bit more cleanly than just thousands of GoPro files that we currently have.
Which we have. We've got a lot of files because we've been doing this for a long time, as far as just for fun, just video taping, but with not the intent to do what we're now going to do. So again, we're excited to finally do this, and hopefully again we inspire some people.
So our plan the next 2 months is to, since we're back in the boat, we're back from Texas where we were last year working, and we plan on making it a goal to push and get some sailing, and the kids are crazy about sailing. We've not done it in 2 years now.
Yeah.
So our goal is to do a sea trial, take the boat out to a sea trial. We're going to haul the boat out here, and we're going to paint the bottom. We have to inspect the bottom, put in a new transducer, because we have no working equipment that we've been updating. We've been doing a lot
working on that
updates over the weekend. Whenever we have a moment from not working, it's been on boat updates. So people haven't seen us around town. You'll be able to see some of the videos and know when we're not around town, for some of you that are from Port Townsend. But we have 2 months here. We have a few more weeks in July. We have August and we have September, and the goal is to spend August and September out.
Yeah.
Still work, still do our normal things, because we need the paychecks. We need the income. We're not generating any income at this moment from doing any of these videos. If we did generate income from these,
we could sail more and adventure more, film more.
We could take and videotape some really interesting places that we've been to in the past.
Because we'd revisit some places we've gone to before, but do it with the girls. The girls haven't been to any of the girls haven't been to the islands with us. The boys have, so it'll be a totally new adventure. Getting up into the San Juans and actually just some of the places we haven't been before, but we have been with the boys.
And then we can go farther. We can go south. This boat has been it was on the East Coast. It was sailed down to the Caribbean. It was in the Bahamas. It was sailed through the Panama Canal. It was in San Diego a while. It sailed into the South Pacific. She's sailed all over, but
mostly south. And then she's this.
Only south.
This
is the farthest north that she's been.
Yeah.
And so the goal would be to get her up to speed with some boat projects, get her out sailing, and get us out sailing, get income to do so, and then sail a little farther. And so the next 2 months, you'll see a perspective of living on the Anchor with a family of
going
6.
To work.
Going to work, living on the Anchor, using solar panels for our power, living on just a anchor and a chain, and out there in front of Port Townsend. We'll do some sailing. We'll sail up, we'll sail back. We'll primarily be off Port Townsend because of just work needs for the income. And then it should give people a really neat perspective that you don't see. That perspective that once we saw, and initially on our Catalina 22 in the middle of Lake Washington, we saw that there was another life out there, watching people drive in traffic to work 2 hours at the time from
being
Portland
able
to Seattle.
work remotely in some sense. Yes.
That we used to do that commute, and being on the outside of it, there's another life out there. There's another way that you can live, and hopefully we can show people a little bit of that, and then hopefully we can make the transition to doing it, and you can watch it via these films.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Bye. One more note.
As
Kiddo crying in the background.
Isabel's crying.
Is these videos are going to be rough to start. We don't have a lot of time to dedicate to them, and so we're always videotaped it.
Yeah, we're hoping to get more.
If people liked it, you can subscribe. We set up a Patreon account because we had a lot of people tell us to do so. And if you like them, then we can start allocating some more time to it. We can maybe get some better equipment than this equipment I think I bought 10 years ago. But we knew it's not about the equipment. It's going to be about the storytelling. It's going to be about, if people like it.
A different life.
We'll be able to improve on the editing, spend some more time on it. We're going to have fun with it either way.
Yeah.
But
we also have to get used to taking the camera with us everywhere. That's something that I'm not completely familiar and comfortable with yet. I'm a bit shy. I'm trying to come out of that so that I'm more comfortable and I come off as being comfortable.
It's funny, we're typically pretty private people, so we're inviting you into an aspect of our life
this is a big opening up. Yeah.
You live aboard of a family of 6, you get all sorts of opinions.
Yes.
And we typically take them with a grain of salt because we've lived many different ways. We've had big homes, we've had small homes.
And we realize we have to live for ourselves and not live for other people and what they think we should live like.
And we engage it as if everybody's happy. We gauge them on their happiness and their
and safety. That's a big thing. We'll talk about that at some point. But kids out. People always ask about the kids, if they're safe on board the boat. How do you?
We'll share all that.
Yeah, we love our kids. We want to keep them around, so it's we definitely do things to make sure that they're safe aboard the boat, especially when we're underway.
But anyway, our apologies on the roughness, and we look forward to you getting to know us a little bit more. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video as much as we liked creating it, like the video, subscribe, and check out the Patreon account in the comments below. If enough people like watching our crazy crew, we'll make more of these videos and share more of our adventures.